Cheers, folks. I'm here on the morning today. Usually I do catch up with Mayo at like 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Today it's 11 a.m. and I'm only going to be able to be here for 1 hour tops at the most because I'm going to meet my nephew. We're meeting together at the theater because guess what? I'm going to see the Elvis movie, the new one, Epic. Elvis Presley in concert for my second time. My nephew wants to see it. So I'm getting together with him and we'll watch the movie. I'll see it again. So that's what I'm here for now. Couldn't do it this afternoon. We're going to have a busy day. After we see the movie, which is an early show, I think it's 12:30 in the afternoon. After we see Epic, then after that, we'll go have some lunch somewhere. And then we're going to go to a record store. So we kind of have a busy day and I'm sorry, couldn't do the stream later. But for some people, that might be just fine. That might work out perfectly for you. Yes, indeed, Gary. Very early today, sir. Yes, indeed. And hi, Mike. Good morning to you. Hello, Ramoga. What's on your so-called mind? And Godzilla's on my mind. Godzilla's on everybody's mind, and it should be on yours, too. Okay, hi Yorkie girl. Good morning to you as well. And Joe F. And yeah, Sal's place. Sal says, yeah, nice to see the snow finally start to melt. It's almost 50 degrees out there today. I'm very glad. In fact, I went out there. I didn't need my winter coat for today, so I'll just wear one of those sweat jackets with the zipper and the hood. I'm going to wear one of those out to the movies. Hi, Alan. Alan says he's going to see Epic today as well. Really looking forward to seeing it. Please let me know what you think. Maybe you intend on making a video about it? Your video thoughts? Good morning, Robbie. This is the last day. I just thought of it. Today's February 28th. It's the last day of the month. Could you believe already? Tomorrow we're into March already. Can you believe that? What happened to January? What happened to February? Although I always say every year, because I hate the winter so much, I want January, February, and March to go by quickly every year because I can't wait to get to spring and summer. So that's okay, All right. Yes, indeed. Okay. I watched Man on the Run last night. I thought it was well done. I like the voiceovers instead of talking heads. Yeah. Great companion to Wingspan. Okay, Alan. So he said, sure, why not? So you could make a video. Make a video about your experience seeing the Elvis movie. Just saw Man on the Run on Amazon. It's disappointing that they glossed over a few of his better albums. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There was supposedly 4 hours for this 4-hour cut, and then there's another one that was even a half hour longer. But maybe other cuts had more to offer. Maybe they went a little longer, showed you more stuff that was missing. So kind of tired, kind of beat up. I don't know. I don't sleep that well. My whole life I slept well. I was always a good sleeper. I still am, but meaning I don't have insomnia. I never had insomnia. I fall asleep pretty easily. But these days I wake up in the middle of the night, to do my business, which as a lot of people do. I got to go. It's usually only one time, but then it's hard to get back to sleep. And I think I go to bed too late. I go to bed like 12:30, 1 o'clock. I usually get up to go to the bath about 2:30, 3 maybe, more like 2:30. Then I get up about 5. It's not really much of a sleep. So I'd be very happy to be able to sleep solidly. Ideally, I always said if I could close my eyes at 12 midnight, sleep straight through without any interruptions, and then wake up at like, say, 7 hours, that would be amazing. But that's not going to happen. Okay. So, yeah, I don't have anything else really pressing right now. Didn't know what kind of audience I'd get here this time earlier in the day on a Saturday. So, what's on everyone's so-called mind out there? Hello, Elvin. Enjoyed your review of Epic. Glad you enjoyed it. Yes, the first half was really meant for the younger fans. Intro to the King, just like the beginning of the Beatles Get Back. Yeah, I know. I don't know if it was you, but somebody else pointed that out to me. I know why. You see, just because we know why it was done doesn't mean I enjoyed it any better. You know what I mean? I don't understand that. I'm not saying you, but somebody in the comments was trying to school me on it. Well, you say you didn't like the intro, but the intro was done for younger people who didn't really know Elvis to really learn about Elvis. I know why it was done, but for me, as a person who already knows that stuff, I felt it a little dull, or it was done too haphazardly and speedy. Also saw Man on the Run. It was fantastic overall. Loved the end when Paul was interviewed. Really got to me. An aging Paul. Yeah, he definitely was aging. Which do you consider to be the Beatles' first UK number one? Please, please me, or from me to you? Well, I always said please, please me, but then I thought wasn't there something later on, fairly recently, that came up indicating that the Beatles really weren't number one with Please Please Me on the proper charts. It was on some other side chart or something. Okay. I just bought Neil Young live at Massey Hall, 1971, vinyl. A fantastic concert. Neil always puts out top-notch vinyl pressings and packaging. Hi, Chris. Got back from a long walk. How many days a week do you walk? It was to the point where I was walking at least 6 days a week. Now, lately, I haven't been walking. I walked like one day, or 2 days this week. Terrible, but I'm trying to get back to it. A lot of things have happened so far early this year that kept me from going to walk, but I'm going to get back on it. So, yeah. Did you ever go to a concert at Shea Stadium? Yes, I saw the Police there in 1983, but I didn't like the Police, funny enough. I went because Joan Jett opened up for the Police, and also REM. It was REM, then Joan Jett, then the Police. I'm trying to think if I ever went to any other Shea Stadium concerts. I watched Man on the Run at 2 a.m. in the morning last night. I really enjoyed it. Great. Do you own any Beatles concert tickets? No, I do not. Do not. Feels spring-like today. Good times coming. Yeah, sounds like a Paul McCartney song. Yeah, it's like close to 50 degrees, which is pretty good. Hi, Walkman. What's going on? Hey, Petty Lane. What's going on with you? And that's it. That's it, folks. Kind of laid back today. Today's a little like not at my peak today. Maybe drink a little more water. So anyway. Yes. Very funny. How sweet it is. On the day I was born, that's a good. I never thought of it that way. The day I was born, Pete Best was still the drummer. I didn't even think of that. Very interesting. Did you guys get hit with more snow last night? No. Any in the near forecast? I haven't looked, and I don't want to know. What was my favorite part about the Elvis movie? Oh, that's a good question, Penny Lane. Burning Love, the Burning Love segment, I think. I haven't picked up anything new at the record store lately, and I'm supposed to go later today with my nephew. Don't really know if I'm not in the market for any vinyl. Speaking of vinyl, I noticed a lot of people have gotten their Paul McCartney "Man on the Run" vinyl already from Amazon. I ordered Amazon. I guess at the same time, I ordered my Man on the Run vinyl from Amazon. I think February 4th, so it was quite some time ago, and I didn't get it yet. So there you go. I don't understand. Other people got theirs already. Mine says it's supposed to come Monday. Today's Saturday, but hasn't shipped yet. Yes, that's right. Neil Sedaka passed away. Yes, indeed. My comments. I'll be honest with you. I never liked Neil Sedaka. Just never liked him. The only song that I ever really liked from him was the song "Bad Blood." And even "Bad Blood" I'm not thrilled with. So, for me personally, in my life, it didn't affect me, that he's gone. But what song was left off Shade Fish that should have been on it? Well, now you got me thinking here. I don't know, because this was John. John actually put it together. It was the only album in his lifetime that he put together. And I'm trying to think. I think it was fine the way it was, actually. Let me just think here. 73, Mind Games. No, I think it was okay. Not looking for anything. Nope. If anything happens to appeal to me, something I see there, that'll be a different story, but I'm not going with anything in mind. Scrubs revival. I don't know anything about Scrubs. I've heard of Scrubs, never seen Scrubs. So I'm afraid I'm totally indifferent to Scrubs. Oh, Jealous Guy. I don't know about that. I'll tell you why I say that. Because in 1975, Jealous Guy wasn't a thing. I mean, later on, Jealous Guy started to have a little bit more life and popularity from movies like Imagine John Lennon. It was kind of, and then I think Jealous Guy was released as a 12-inch single, I think in the 80s, maybe. And also, was it Roxy Music did a version of Jealous Guy? But back in 1975, it wasn't that big a thing, Jealous Guy. John basically put the singles on there, the hits and the singles. Not count. Well, the single was also "Woman Is the Bleep of the World," and that was a single. It wasn't one of his most popular singles, but your Laughter in the Rain isn't bad. Yeah. I guess I'll wait till the Joe and Danny show to discuss how awful kidney stones are. Well, yes, let's wait to that. If you can wait all the way to Wednesday, hopefully you pass it by then if you have one. I did not see the Squeeze cover version of Junior's Farm. I did not. Are you excited for flea markets? They sure have changed over the years. No, I'm not. I hate to be such a grouch about it, but a lot of things here. But it's just that the flea market's not what it was either. Most things are not what they were anymore. And I really, really lament that about how I miss the 20th century. Things are not the same in any way, shape, or form. They're worse. And there are some aspects that are better about it. There are some certain aspects, but overall, when it comes to entertainment and leisurely stuff, especially, I'm talking about, I miss it. I ordered the soundtrack for Man on the Run fairly early through Amazon. It also says I'll receive it Monday. How is that possible? They didn't even ship it yet. Yeah, hopefully they ship it like any second now, Alan. Right? Hopefully they ship it any second now if it's supposed to come here Monday. And let's hope that they arrive safely and not bent or dinged or anything like that. Amazon did refund my orange men on the run after trying to deliver to my drop-off point. Amazon Fresh. Oh, I see. Well, that all Amazon Fresh stores closed on February 1st. Which solo albums are better than Beatles for Sale? You know, that's hard to say, you know. I don't know. Beatles for Sale is probably better than any solo album still. You know, even the great ones. So, All Things Must Pass, you know, Imagine, Ram. So there you go. What is the best song on the Band on the Run album? Best or my favorite? Haha. If you were going to ask me what's the best song, meaning not necessarily my favorite, but what I think qualifies as best, I'd say the title track qualifies as technically the best song on Band on the Run. For me right now, my favorite song on there is either Jet or 1985 for me. Yes, I do. I do remember the great Roosevelt Field Flea Market. Yeah, it was a great flea market. I also remember the Aqueduct Racetrack Flea Market. Hello, Jim. Greetings there in the UK. What's the good word? What Beatles concert would you like to get the same treatment as Epic? I like the Australian concert. I like the Shea Stadium concert. You know, I've always said I think they can make a really good Shea Stadium film, meaning not just the concert itself, not just the Beatles performing their songs, but everything before it and during it, you know, leading up to it. They could make a nice documentary about Shea Stadium, I think. I always felt Beatles for Sale was a great album. People often put it down. Well, the problem is, you know, time changes. And people have to look for a scapegoat or something to bitch about. So they try to say that Beatles for Sale, it's one of the lesser Beatles albums if I had to pick in order of favorites. But even the least Beatles album is still better than almost any other band's best albums. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's how I feel about that. With me, the one that really pisses me off is when people put down the second album with the Beatles, because to me, that's in some ways that's my favorite Beatles album. Period. But they complain about the covers, like so many cover songs on it and stuff like that. So. This is going to be, if you're just joining me, this is going to be a short show today. I got to be gone. And no later than 12 noon on the dot. So we're really looking at a very short show today. So get your comments in. One day, maybe for Record Store Day, they could issue the Let It Be box with the book. No. Why do I say that? Because I like some authentic collectibles to remain authentic collectibles. You may say, well, if it's original, the original one from 1970 is still going to be collectible, right? Now, it takes away some of the fun of having an original when you just easily put out a reissue. So I really would rather they never do that. That's just my opinion. For years, I much preferred Old Brown Shoe to Ballad of John and Yoko. Now I like them almost the same. Well, I much prefer Ballad of John and Yoko. However, I love Old Brown Shoe. Old Brown Shoe was one of those neglected Beatles songs, but B-side, for many, 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 many years. And then eventually it really, really got to me, and I really love it. The bass, very good. Okay, now what is a Beatles U? Last time I was in New York, we went to a place called the Freakin' Rican. Have you ever been? Great food. No, I never heard of it. It's an interesting title, but I never heard of it. It was good seeing Ringo backstage at the Wings concert. That's right. I don't think I even mentioned it in my review. There is some footage of Ringo, you know, meeting Paul and his group backstage, which is a nice little moment. Oh, I'm sorry, Walkman. That's terrible. I'm so sorry to hear that. You lost your mom last night. Sorry about that. recently introduced her to your channel. She loves the Joe and Danny episodes. Oh, that's nice. But I'm so sorry to hear that. Boy, I wonder if she thought Danny was a pain in the ass, just like I do. That's part of the dynamic of the Joe and Danny show, which, by the way, again, if you like the Joe and Danny show and you want to see the Joe and Danny show on a regular basis, I mean, you can always go over there on your own, but if you want it to pop up in your feed as soon as it comes on, it's over there at this channel, Mayo Loves Mondays. That's where I do the Joe and Danny show now, you know. Mayo Loves Mondays. And I realize everybody watching here either doesn't care, they're aware they don't care to join that channel, or there are people who have already subscribed, don't need to be reminded again and again and again. So, let's see. Once upon a time, I had the Let It Be journals on color vinyl. The real to real case. Sold it years ago. I have never listened to the Yoko Ono Plastic Ono band all the way through. I do like the instrumentation, but I've only played tracks here and there or heard it elsewhere. Never played it all the way through, to be perfectly honest with you. No, I think Rubber Soul is a great title as it is. It's the one I'm used to. Man, this is, like I said, I'm under the weather today. I'm just not feeling great. It's really tough to do this today, believe it or not. I think it's an easy thing, but try to look halfway coherent or uplifted. Not easy. I've eliminated sugar again from my diet. So when you go from eating tons of sugar to not eating any sugar, or very little, maybe here and there, fruit, maybe a little fruit, it's tough. You start going through withdrawals and stuff. It plays havoc with uh, your mind, headaches, just, your stamina until you get settled into the new life. I've been there many times, back and forth with that. You should listen to the All Things Must Pass jam at least once. I keep saying I'm going to. One day you'll see a little review of it. Yoko's Season of Glass is going to be reissued, CD and vinyl. I like Season of Glass. I think Season of Glass is one of her best albums. I do. I'm not going to get the reissue though. I'm good. Do you have a favorite Capitol label Beatles album? Mine is Beatles 6. Yeah, mine's always been the Beatles' second album. I just think it rocks. It's the Beatles balls to the wall rock. Yeah. Yeah, and Beatles 6 is one of my least favorites of their Capitol albums. Sorry to say. But I also, my favorite ones are Beatles' second album, Beatles 65, Yesterday and Today, and Meet the Beatles. Meet the Beatles, Beatles' second album, Yesterday and Today, and Beatles 65. Well, I've said this before. I always believe that, even if there's not a lot of footage or great footage of the songs themselves, which we saw some pretty good footage of some songs from the Japan show that waited onto the George Harrison DVD. I don't know what it was called. Was it called Best of Dark Horse? It was a promo films DVD. But still, there's a lot of good footage and interviews and press conferences. They really could. That's something that if you're listening, Olivia and Danny, which I know you're not, but if you are, or anybody that can get this to them, that's a good idea, a good project. Get Peter Jackson, get people to work on this, and do a really great documentary film along the lines of the Elvis film that's out about George and Eric Clapton together doing the tour of Japan. Or I say tour, it was just, I think it was 10 days maybe, right? 10 days in Japan. It was a full tour, really. That's a great idea for a new project for George Harrison. There's a lot of footage of them arriving and doing press conferences and rehearsing and doing songs. I think you can make a really nice package out of that. Exactly. Sugar and salt is in everything. And when you were eating as much sugar and as much salt as I was eating, and you go from that to cutting it all out, really, or 90% of it. 90 is a fair. I'd say 90% is a fair estimation. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. Plus the fact I didn't get that much sleep last night. It's rough. I really can't tell you all the Bruce Spicer books I have. I have a lot of them up back there. They're covered up by the Ringo head there, but I got quite a few, but I really don't know. I have the VJ book, though. I do have that. Klaus Vorman signed your Apple Jam and Yoko Plastic Ono band. I had Klaus Vorman sign. You can see it. It's up here in the corner here. Live Peace in Toronto. He signed Live Peace in Toronto and also the Revolver album cover, which I don't have on display. When was the first time you left the USA? Now, as far as I know, I only left the USA once, and that was in 1993. First I was visiting Tucson, Arizona, and we went over the border into Mexico. And I think that's the only time I've ever been out of the country. Is A Hard Day's Night the best of all films released in 1964? Well, I'd have to have a list of films released in 1964, but it's one of the best. But I'm guessing it's not the only one. Another shout out to Neil Sedaka, who passed away. I believe he was 86. Listened to Kisses on the Bottom the other day. I'm getting more used to it, but I wish Paul had picked more standard songs. Not his best effort. It's not his best effort. I mean, I'd rather have Kisses on the Bottom in existence than not have it. My girlfriend likes it. We play it. We play it sometimes together. But it could have been better. First of all, Paul could have recorded it years earlier, when his voice was better. And yeah, some of the songs on are a little obscure. Well, they're not the most common, let's put it that way. Toronto and Revolver are my first Klaus Vorman signatures. Yeah, right. He loved his calendar, girl, every day of the year. He sure did. Have you heard of Apple releasing the second part of the Beatles in mono? I haven't heard anything about that. Oh, yeah, Goldfinger. That's another great one. Yeah, that's a good one. Goldfinger is one of the great movies from 1964. My favorite horror franchise. Well, if you're talking about the early days, 1930s, 1940s, I love the Universal Monsters. Dracula, Frankenstein, The Wolfman, The Mummy. And out of all of those, I'll stick with Frankenstein as my favorite franchise. Later on, as we get into the later days, Friday the 13th. My favorite horror franchise I call it the more modern era, if you will. Friday the 13th. What is the best song credited to Lennon McCartney that they gave away? Well, for me, I think it's World Without Love. I think World Without Love and I'll Be on My Way probably are my two choices, and Bad to Me. Those are three. I think number one is, like I said, World Without Love. And then I'd go with I'll Be on My Way and Bad to Me. When you stop eating sugar, the sugar eating bacteria in your stomach starts dying off, and you can get stomach issues. It can last a week or two. They call it keto flu. Yeah, I've heard of that. I don't want to jinx myself or speak too soon. I don't have the stomach issue, but just general, confusion, little aches, head, stuff, and just yeah, that's what I kind of feel like when I'm starting. By the way, I hope you can make it, Mick. Can you make it here tomorrow for not at the other channel? If those of you don't know, I'm doing the what you call weight loss journey, the health, whatever you want to call it, health routine series over on my other channel, the one I said, Mayo Loves Mondays. That's going to be at 5 p.m. Eastern. I hope you can make it over there, Mick. Can you? Let me know. Love that epic movie. Yep, absolutely. Oh yeah, what is this about? I'm not seeing. I was at the theater yesterday and I saw a poster for another Mummy film. Listen, I'm done with Mummy. The Mummy with Boris Karloff in 32 is good. The Mummy with Christopher Lee for Hammer Films in 1959 is good, and all the Mummy sequels. And the Brendan Fraser Mummy is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. I hate that movie with every fiber of my being. Stupid, idiotic action picture and comedy. I hated the Brendan Fraser Mummy. Then they did it again with somebody else. Was it Tom Cruise? I don't know. Somebody else not doing it again. Come on, man. Get some ideas. Breaking Up is Hard to Do is a good song, I gotta say. Bad to Me, World Without Love, and I'll Be on My Way could have been on with the Beatles. I get you. I should be there. I hope so, Mick, because you are very, if you don't mind my saying, you are very essential to those conversations. Did John play anything on Here Comes the Sun? I don't think he did. Am I right about that? I don't even think he was there for the recording. Can somebody tell me that? All right, Marcus. Thank God. Like I said, I'm so glad. No, it was this channel, and I swear, Marcus, please, it was 100% accidental. It happens all the time, and I hate when that happens. But it was a real bitch finding a way to put you back. I can't explain it. It's all back scenes, behind the scenes stuff. So there you go. This new film has nothing to do with the original. I don't care. Well, we'll see what it's. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. I mean, don't get me wrong. If people said this is really an exceptional Mummy film, this is like one of the best Mummy films ever, I might consider it. Okay, Elvis Presley in concert equals too many cuts. And while I enjoyed it, I would rather Baz let the clips used breathe a bit more. I know what you mean. He's a little too fast, but he's doing that because he wants to try to, I think, appeal to the younger crowds that have no attention span. You know what I mean? Anyway, dislike the new mixes used with the DJ techno beats. Yeah, I was all right with the music. I know it wasn't as if the purist in me wouldn't like that, but for my ears, it was okay. I liked it. Do you ever import vinyl from overseas? Sure, guess so. I get mixed up with import, export. I've got a lot of imports, if that's what you mean. John was still recovering from a car accident while the other three recorded Here Comes the Sun. There you go. Hi, Dr. Rick. Good morning. I'm trying to think. Remember, I'm trying to think what that means. GTSY. Oh, man. Good to see you. How's that? Yes, I want to say this, too. I did see the trailer for the upcoming Michael Jackson film called Michael, and I liked the trailer. I mean, you can't always tell a movie by its trailer, but I did like the trailer. The trailer made me think it's worth seeing. So I very well may go to see the Michael Jackson biopic. I had no interest at first, but after seeing the trailer, it was a decent trailer. Anyway, I'm surprised the Paul is Dead theory was given any time in Man on the Run. Yeah, well. Nothing. I can understand that. At least to debunk it a bit. But what was Paul thinking with Mary Had a Little Lamb and Gotta Sing, Gotta Dance, especially the videos? If he wanted to be taken seriously, he really showed poor judgment. Well, I like that they brought that out in there. I'm glad that Paul allowed that to be in the movie. I'm glad they covered that at first. Early in the solo career, Paul did a lot of sap and a lot of things that made people scratch their heads and say, "What is this guy thinking?" And I love that they left that in. Now, the thing with Mary Had a Little Lamb, I just had a comment from one of my regular viewers that I want to clear up something about. First of all, people say, number one, they think, and I used to think for many years, that Paul recorded Mary Had a Little Lamb as kind of like as a spiteful thing because his song Give Ireland Back to the Irish had been banned. So people thought that he said, well, if you're going to ban my political song, I'll give you something trite and silly like Mary Had a Little Lamb and stick it in your face. But Paul himself, I heard him in an interview very clearly. I remember where I was at my grandmother's house in the bedroom over there when I was listening to a radio special on Paul, and he had a radio quote where Paul said himself, people thought I did that song about Give Ireland Back to the Irish as if to say, go ahead and try and ban this. He said, but that's not true at all, and that's not the reason I did it. So that's debunked. That's a myth. People have said, and Paul might have said it too, that it was done for his daughter Mary. But I think that's true. I think that he did Mary Had a Little Lamb for Mary. However, it doesn't make a difference. Whatever the reason is, it's a bad look. It was a bad look, and they covered that in the movie expertly. It's always cool seeing people listening to Beatles and solo for the first time. I just watched this channel. I watched that too. Absolutely, Marcus. There's a young couple. They're an Asian couple. And they're a very cute couple. And the guy, whose name is Vito, actually, loved John Lennon Plastic Ono Band. And he's emerged as a Lennon fan. And if you watch their Ram one, he's kind of saying, man, it's okay, but I like the deep stuff with John. This is very twee kind of stuff. So this guy really, really likes that. I think his girlfriend is more of a Paul girl, but it doesn't matter. But they did all the Beatles albums, this couple, and the name of the channel is called First Listen. Check it out. This couple is really cool. They listen to all the Beatles albums. They did All Things Must Pass. They're just starting solo stuff. They did All Things Must Pass. They did Ram, and they did Plastic Ono Band. And this guy, the guy named Vito, who was really affected by the emotion of Plastic Ono Band, reminded me exactly of when I was 15 years old and I first heard it with the headphones in a bedroom, dark one night, looking out the window and reading the lyrics and being touched, blown away as a real emotional, life-altering listening experience. I've played Ram twice in the last week. I'm a Band on the Run fan and put Ram second. Maybe one day I'll like Ram better. Well, it's not a requirement, but these days Ram is really taken over. Things do change with time. Sometimes another album will get, like it happened with the Beatles. Like for a long time, it was said that Sgt. Pepper was their best album, or that Sgt. Pepper was the greatest rock album of all time. Now, Revolver has transplanted, has taken over that. So, okay, I had the same issue with my Social Security first check that you did. Birthday in April, first check is in June. Same thing happened to me. Yeah. How long does it take you to get to Manhattan from where you are? Oh, I don't know about that. Hour and a half, maybe. What Beatles or solo Beatles release do you think we'll see? I think Wings at the Speed of Sound, half speed master. I think that's a good bet that we're going to see that. I really don't know. Well, we're going to get Ringo. Ringo's going to have a new album out, follow up to his successful album Look Up. We're also going to get a new Paul McCartney album, brand new material from Paul. Don't know when that's coming out yet. And we're supposed to get John Lennon the two concert films, the afternoon and evening 1-to-1 Madison Square Garden concerts, and I'm guessing we're going to get that around October. So I haven't heard anything about the Half Speed Master Wings at the Speed of Sound, but I'm guessing it'll come. My birthday's the third week of April, and you need a full month before you're eligible for a check. Gotcha. Mary Had a Little Lamb was a top 10 hit in the UK, so some people must have liked it. I'm sure people liked it, sure. Kids, young people. When will the new Back to the Egg be out? Any idea? There's no word on Back to the Egg coming out ever at this moment. And I hate that because I want it out. I like that album. My birthday's in April. When I get to April, it'll be when I'm 64. Boom, boom. Can't believe it. The line was originally, Yoko took your lucky break and broke it in two. It was a good idea to change that. Oh, yeah. Sure. That wouldn't have fit. I never heard that was the original line. I don't know where that came from. It wouldn't fit. The syllables are too long. Yoko took your lucky, but it doesn't fit. You have to get one syllable. You. That's interesting. Thank you. Well, I know you do, Gary. You're one of my best viewers, one of my most loyal. I'm going to say fans. People get upset when you say fans. Jealousy usually, but the thing is, people have told me I'm a big Mayo fan. They said that I'm a Mayo fan. Well, what's wrong with that? I'm a fan of some YouTubers out there. I call myself a fan. Only got about 19 minutes left, folks. I'm going to be, if you're just joining me, I'm going to be shutting this down at 12 noon and running over to the movie theater to meet my nephew. We're going to see the Elvis Presley movie. He hasn't seen it yet. I've seen it my second time. How many famous Monsters of Filmland do you have in your collection from the whole series? I don't know the number, Elvin. I have most of them. The problem is from issue number, say, I think like issue number 33 all the way till the end, I got every one. The ones I'm missing are the ones from number 1 to 33. But I have some issues, like I have issue number 2, and I have other sporadic issues. I'm sporadically missing issues from 1 to 33. Let's put it that way. What BBC bootlegs do you own? I have the vinyl series, Beatles at the Beeb. I have that. I have the CD thing, the Great Dane box set. I have the Great Dane box set, and I have some other stuff too. Planning on seeing Epic this Tuesday with my buddy. Very good. Let's know what you think of it, please. Yes, I do have quite a few, but not all. I'd love to have a full collection of the UK Beatles monthly magazines because those are something worth keeping. Even though I'm going to be selling, you heard that here, right? I'm going to be selling a lot of my Beatle magazines and Teen Beat type of Beatles magazines and that stuff. I definitely want to have as many, if not all, of the Beatles monthly books because they're really well done. And they got still some photographs that you've never seen anywhere else. Yes, I've tried to play records backwards to hear hidden messages. I can't give you the titles because I don't remember. Oh, I like a lot of Motown songs. I mean, yeah, you said there's so many great songs. How could I even name them? The Four Tops, the Temptations. I think the Supremes are fantastic. The Supremes are my favorites. I'm a Supremes fan, big time. Your videos with your nephew that I've seen are very good. He likes different genres, really brings out a joy inside of you we don't see often. I guess an Uncle Vibe, but it's very nice to see. He expressed some interest in being on one of my Collectors Anonymous episodes. So if that works out, if he wants to do it, I may have him up on an episode of Collectors Anonymous one day. Yeah, my nephew. I'll let you know how he likes Epic. Just remind me. Remind me. I know he. I think he likes Elvis a little bit. I know I gave him when he was younger. He's 34 now. I believe. Right. He's right. Just turned 34. Yeah. He's 34 now. I can't do the math. Yeah. And it's funny when your nephew. 1 minute your nephews are like 5, 10, and 12 and 18. Next thing you know, 34. But anyway, so I know I gave him some Elvis records when he was younger, and we went to the theater to see the '68 comeback. They had the '68 comeback on. I think we watched we might have watched This Is Elvis once. We might have seen too. This Is Elvis, and I think we watched Aloha from Hawaii as well. Have you listened to all Beatles albums in chronological order lately? No, not lately. Nope. I don't usually listen in chronological order to the Beatles at all, really. It's good to see the youngsters enjoy what we grew up liking. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. One thing I should have said in my review of the Elvis Epic movie is that it's really good for young people. It's a good gateway, if you will. If if you've never seen Elvis before, that might be definitely a good starting point. I'm sorry. As I get older, I'm okay with selling things, letting new fans have part of my collection. Yeah, me too. It's all changing for me as I'm getting older. It is. It's all changing. I'll always be a collector, and I'll always have that gene. But I'm also getting rid of stuff, and it's very liberating. Would you prefer Ringo doing a country classic cover song or original material again? It depends. I don't know. I don't have a preference as long as it sounds good. If he has an original song and it sounds like shit, I'd rather him do a song like a version of "I Can Help." Like he's already done "I Can Help," by the way, but it's not released. I'd rather him do what did somebody say? Rhinestone Cowboy. Like have him do Rhinestone Cowboy. I'd rather have a good version of Ringo singing like a Rhinestone Cowboy cover than a lousy new song. But if he can have a new song, that's great. Terrific. Will you be going to the 4th of July get together again this year? Looks like a great time. It's always a great time. I'm usually they have one. This one is probably going to be big because it's going to be what is it, 250 years, right? So America, independence. So we had the bicentennial in '76. Now we got the other one. Anyway, it should be good, and I look forward to it if they have it and if I'm invited. I think all generations need to see Epic. This is how it's done. No AI or auto tune. Have you ever done a live stream with your nephew as a guest for any interesting topic? We made videos together, so old videos together. But I don't know if we ever did a live stream together. I don't think so. What Beatles studio album, not compilation, would you recommend to a first-time listener who's never heard any of the albums? I always say when this question comes up, the Beatles' White Album. Mostly because the Beatles' White Album has all kinds of varied styles on it. So there's something for everybody. And it has a lot more material. I think there's 32 songs on it. If not the White Album, I'd say Revolver or Abbey Road. Those are the three: White Album, Revolver, or Abbey Road. Personally, I wouldn't recommend the early stuff these days to anybody. I'm an early Beatles fan, even more than the later Beatles. I prefer the early stuff, probably the best. But if I was going to have a newbie who wants to hear something, I probably would hold off on the early stuff a little bit. Yeah, I remember him saying this. He always listened to his last album before he started a new one. I think he said because he wanted to just get down what mood he was in at the time or something. In the '70s, I thought the Billy Swan song "I Can Help" sounded a lot like Ringo. Yeah, a good point. Matchstick Man, what's going on? Which Beatle once described himself as half monk, half performing flea? I have heard that quote, but I don't remember who it is. Is that George? Maybe it sounds like a George comment, but I remember that. It sounds like some John fan I am. I can't remember who said that. Okay. Is there a YouTuber that you know personally that you think is a bigger Beatles diehard than you? I'm thinking of all of the Beatles YouTubers. I don't think any of the YouTubers I would say is a bigger diehard Beatles fan than me. I'd say they're the same as me and they're on the same level as me. I'm talking about when I say same level, I'm talking about as far as being a diehard Beatles fan. I'm not talking about quality of our channels or anything like that. I know there was at least two guys I know that are more diehard Paul fan solo than I am. I don't have any comments on Hurricane Smith. The only thing I know is the song "Babe, What Would You Say" that I liked as a child when it was a hit. But I don't really have any knowledge of him or anything musically. I mean, talk about musically. Polk Salad Annie. I've got Polk Salad Annie in my head. She's song from Elvis. Get ready to wind this down, folks. Early short show this week. Yes, I've said this many times. I do go months without listening to the Beatles. I do not play the Beatles every day. I do not play the Beatles every week or month. I do go months without listening to the Beatles. I mean, you're talking about so far as deliberately putting on a Beatles album, right? No, I don't do. I could go months without listening to the Beatles. Yeah. Tell us about the Beneath the Planet of the Apes poster and the Apes toys. Well, hi George. I what can I say? I've always been a big fan of the Planet of the Apes movies. Talking about the original 5 films from 1968 to 73. And yeah, well, there's not much to say. I got Beatles collectibles here that I've Planet of the Apes collectibles here. There's a lunchbox over there, and there's mask over here, and there's a bank over there. There's another bank up here, and that poster I think I got it at a convention. There's not much to say about it. I just collect the stuff here and there, and I love Planet of the Apes. Yep. Which was an overall better year for albums, 69 or 70? I can't. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. I'm thinking of other groups too. I don't know. You had Zeppelin too. I don't know. I'm almost tempted to say 70, to be honest with you. 69 and 70 are very close. That's an interesting question. I wonder what other people think. You know, I do have periods where I don't listen to any one artist. I think it makes you appreciate them more when you do listen. Yeah, that's happened to me too. Yeah, definitely. '69, 1969 edges out 1970. All right. I got to get ready to leave, folks. So I'm going to start going now. Okay, because I've got to go meet my nephew and see the Elvis movie. His first time, my second. All right, folks, that's it. This is a short edition of Catch Up with Mayo. I do this every Saturday. Usually do it late afternoon Eastern time, 4 o'clock around there, something like that, 4:30 around that time, give or take. Thank you all for being here. I'm sorry if any of you just got here, but I wanted to do something today because I wasn't going to be able to be here late this afternoon today. So I figured, let me do it early. Okay, everybody, I'm on my way. Talk soon. Cheers.